first open chord we're going to look at is called E minor. Minor chords can be thought of as sad sounding chords, where major chords on the other hand will be happy sounding. If I play E minor, it may not sound that sad, but if I play E major now, you can hear the difference. Now to play E minor, you follow the instructions on the chord diagram. There are two black dots on the diagram, which means that there are two places you'll place your fingers. The dot on the second fret on the fifth string is telling us to play that note. The number inside the dot is telling us to use our second finger, so place your finger here. The dot on the fourth string is telling us to play the second fret with our third finger, so reach around with your third finger and place it as close to the fret as you can. Sometimes you'll see an E minor diagram saying you should use your first and second finger. Either way is okay. With chords there are no rules, so whichever is the easiest to play and the most useful is the way you should play it. When placing your fingers down on the fretboard, try to use your fingertips and not the pads of your fingers. If you have long nails, you should cut them short, or else they'll just give you trouble. Now your fingers are in the right place, do a down strum of all 6 strings like this. Now the problem with chords is that you may not notice if all the strings are ringing out properly or not. So to check that all the strings are ringing out properly, play each string one after the other like this. If all 6 strings are ringing out nice and clear, then you have your hand in the right spot. If you hear something like this, it is probably because one of your fingers is touching another string that it shouldn't. If you're not using your fingertips, it is more likely your fingers will be touching other strings that they shouldn't, like that. Take your time perfecting this chord, because if you have trouble with this one, all the others are going to be a nightmare. Only move on to new chords after you perfect the one you're playing. The second chord we'll look at is called D major, or just D. Remember that major chords sound happy or upbeat. You will notice on this chord diagram that only 4 strings are to be played. You need to use 3 fingers to play this chord, so some people will find this tricky. When placing your fingers down on the fretboard, you have 2 options. The first option is to start with your first finger and place it down, then the second finger, and then the third. Another option is to start from the lowest string and work out each finger as you go. I recommend starting with your first finger and working your way to the fourth. Most people seem to find it easier this way. So start by placing your first finger on the second fret on the third string. Then take your second finger and place it on the second fret on the first string. You then need to place your third finger in between the other 2 on the third fret on the second string. Try to remember D major as a triangle shape on the fretboard. If you think you have your fingers in the right place, strum all 4 strings like this. Now check that all the notes are played properly by playing each string separately like this. Some people will have trouble with their third finger touching other strings. Remember to use your fingertips and not have your thumb reaching over the top. If you hear a muted note like this, try to see which finger is causing it. If you can play the chords fairly easy, the next step is to have a go strumming between the 2 chords. Start off very slow so you have plenty of time to think about what you are doing. We will start with E minor, strum it 4 times using down strums, change to D major and strum it 4 times. It should sound like this. Listen to what you are playing and make sure that all the chords played sound right. If you think it doesn't sound right, stop strumming and play each string separately to check. Now after you strum D 4 times, You continue by going back to E minor and playing 4 times again. Play the 2 chords in a loop to practice changing between them. Once you can play it like this with ease, have a go playing it slightly faster. You should aim on keeping the rhythm constant. In other words, your aim is to make sure you can keep strumming without stopping when you change between chords like this. Don't play it like this, because it won't help you improve. Start off slow and eventually your hands will memorize where they need to change to. Have a good practice with these chords and changing between them. Once you can play these chords with ease, come back and we'll look at learning new chords. See you later.